everybody, it is Romania Black, and this feels weird because we're on OVA number 3 for Wotakoi, Love is Hard for an Otaku, and after this week, for the time being, we won't have any updates, which is crazy. Now, I am still going to check comments, so I do have a comment from episode 9 that I want to talk about from Vero-chan. They posted a few days ago, and I have been checking the comments up through episode 11. I haven't really had the opportunity yet to check any of the OVA comments, so if something comes up that I want to document for future reactions, I will, but I will definitely respond to those comments if anything, as long as they don't involve any manga spoilers. We should be good. But yeah, it's crazy. Now, there's not a timetable on the manga, to be honest, because I've talked about it. I would like to eventually read the manga. I need to get through some other things on my channel first, and I guess it also kind of depends on interest. I would like to get to the manga, but it is going to kind of depend on if people really want me to react to the manga and if they're going to get engaged and talk about it. So we'll see. I may do, if I get done with Alien Stage and Cherry Magic and some of the other series I'm working on and I have extra time available, I may do a poll on Patreon to see if they want me to react to Wotakoi. I have really enjoyed this series a lot more than I thought I would when I started this series out. The first couple episodes took me a little bit to get into it, and I was like, okay, this is all right. But once we got to like episode 3, I really started to enjoy this series, and I've loved it every week. I honestly was expecting, with this series being as popular as it was, to have more engagement, but people are busy, and I get that, so it's fine. But yeah, so we're on the 3rd OVA. And the only comment that I have is from Vero-chan back in episode 9. They said, I love that both of these individuals came to the conclusion that they don't have to be like normal couples to conform to society's expectations, which is Narumi and Hirotaka. In the end, they should just be free to be their own selves because of who they fell in love with and who are comfortable being around all the time. It's the kind of lesson is one I hold very dear to myself, because I too would like to be able to express my own self freely and without people fearing judgments. I also love to find one day someone who would accept me and love me for who I am. That's the dream, right? That's the dream. I do feel one thing I've come to love about this series is how romantic it was. Because I'll be honest, I watched Nozaki-kun, and not to give any spoilers to that series, but I had expectations with Nozaki-kun when I watched it, and those were not met. And so I was like, okay, but maybe if I had kept reading the manga for that series, they would have been. I don't know. But I was really worried the first couple episodes. I'm like, how is this series going to go? Are we actually going to get romance? And my dog wants me to throw a toy to him. And we have. So that's been a lot of fun. I'm glad that that's been the case. So cool. But anyway, I'm really sad, honestly. I'm more irritated than anything that we only have this OVA and then it's no more animated content for this series, because it's so good. It deserves more. So what can we do, y'all? But anyway, I hope you all enjoy this last reaction, and sound off how you've enjoyed the series down below. If you enjoyed the reactions and discussions, I would love to know it. Otherwise, I guess it was great. I've enjoyed it. I've had a lot of fun. But hopefully I hear from y'all down below what you all think of this. But in any case, we're not going to waste any more time. We are going to get started here and see what happens in this last OVA. So with that being said, I'm going to throw this one more time to my dog. Go lay down, buddy. There we go. All right. And so we are going to get started here and watch Wotakoi, Love is Hard for an Otaku, OVA number 3. Also, thank you to Sunspots for everything. I want to give a big shout out to Sunspots before we start. They found me all of the files for this series. I really appreciated it. I would not have been able to react to these OVAs without Sunspots. So thank you so much, Sunspots. You are a legend. Thank you. All of my love. But we are going to get started here with Wotakoi, Love is Hard for an Otaku, number 3 OVA, here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. This was such a cute OVA, but I'm not going to lie to y'all. I feel like it had the same issue that when I watched Cherry Magic. I'm going to do like a really quick Cherry Magic spoiler here for like 30 seconds to a minute. So when I'm done doing this, that means when I'm done waving my hand like this, that means the Cherry Magic spoiler is over. So if you see this again, just scroll till I do this for a while and then you'll know that the spoiler is over. But just like in Cherry Magic's final episode, the whole wedding thing is such manga bait, and I almost kind of wish that if a series is not committed to doing multiple seasons and they're just doing a manga bait season like this one clearly is, and like Cherry Magic clearly seemed to be, then I wish they would just not preface that and just let it be what it is. But I get why they do that, because they want you to go read the manga and be like, they're getting married, but how? But why? But it feels like such a self-spoiler that I'm like, but you spoiled the wedding. Like just don't do that. Let us figure it out when we go read the manga, you know? Or if you're going to be that route, just end on the proposal and then we have to go read the manga to find out how the wedding goes down. You know, that's my pet peeve. That's my pet peeve. If you're going to manga bait, then just set it up and let us go read the manga to find out the reveal. Don't give the reveal away in the anime, because I don't want to say it feels cheap, but it feels kind of, I don't know, it feels almost disingenuous. And I'm like, I don't like it. It's a pet peeve. It is a pet peeve, especially for romance. I'm like, why give away the spoiler before they've even gotten to the proposal? Like, you've just spoiled that whole like anticipation, because what if Koyanagi gets proposed to by Kabakura and there's a manga plot point where she's hesitant or he's hesitant and it's like, we don't know if they're going to say yes or no. Well, we've watched the anime, so we know that they're going to get married. So any tension the manga could create would be gone. Now, whether that exists or not, I don't know. Probably not. But if it did, it'd be instantly ruined, because you're like, well, I know from the anime they're going to get married, so why would I think there's any question of it in the manga? I don't know. It's just a pet peeve of mine, but I'm going to no more Cherry Magic spoilers. My only other thing other than that was a pet peeve is that the other two OVAs felt a little more cohesive in terms of they were like point A, point B. Like the first OVA was very much like all the flashbacks. So it was very cohesive, a big solid plot. The second OVA was kind of like two storylines that they put in one, and it worked really well together. I was fine with it. This one, I really liked the plot point of them going to the inn, going to the retreat. I thought that was a really good storyline. I loved it. And I liked all the little bits and parts after, but they definitely felt like bits and parts. Like we're just throwing it together to make a 25-minute OVA. It's still really cute. We're going to talk about it, but those are just my little nitpicks. If I'm going to nitpick, I'm going to say it now. But anyway, so let's get started and go through this OVA and talk through it. Just the good. There is no bad. Here in 3, 2, 1. There is no bad. I think this entire OVA was good. I just had those two little nitpicks that are my pet peeves that are there. I wanted to go back to this saying there'll be a company retreat on May 29th through May 30th. Okay, so they sent this out a month prior. Well, that's nice. Give your employees a month to plan. That's nice. All employees are invited, so confirm your schedule for those days and take measures to make it. Take all measures to make it. Confirm your participation with the person in charge by May 7th. Kabakura runs an organized, tight ship here. I appreciate that. Hakione, they're going to get on the West Line ticket gate on May 29th at 9:45 a.m. and they're going to be back the 30th. We're done the 30th at 10 a.m. So they're really just there a day. It was just a day trip. They're just there a day trip and then they come home. That's nice. I mean, for a company to pay for like multiple employees, it makes sense to just pay for one night. So yeah, that's fun. You know what? Going on a night company retreat would be nice. Yeah. Why not? A day trip and then you get to go to a spa and then come home that next day? Yeah. Why wouldn't we? That is a lot to plan in one day, though. So I don't envy Kabakura, but I respect him and his planning abilities. That's really... So yeah. So they talk about this and we find out that Hirotaka did not really go to a lot of school trips when he was a kid, which surprises no one. We find out that Koyanagi and Baba, I like his character. I like Baba a lot. He seems like a very supportive character. He was getting tea for Hirotaka and seems like he looks out for people. I like Baba. Aiba is very much like he reminds me of Rokaku from Cherry Magic, where he's just like the office guy that's trying to snag a girlfriend, you know? But they don't really want to go to the retreat. They're like, well, we could do something else. Meanwhile, Narumi and Aiba are like, yeah, let's go to the retreat. Company time off. So they're different. And Hirotaka just doesn't have an opinion either way of it, right? Kabakura's opinion is Kabakura and Hirotaka are on polar opposite spectrums, where Hirotaka had no preference and Kabakura had all the preference. He's like, we're going. He's like, I organized the whole thing. Whereas Hirotaka has like zero hands in it, right? I will say, I kept wondering if in any of these OVAs, it was going to get brought up about them dating because Aiba and Baba, who their names being kind of like illiterate with one another is funny. The fact that they bring up getting girlfriends and stuff and Hirotaka still hasn't told them about dating Narumi is interesting. I kept thinking that would get brought up in this. It does not, which is fine. That's okay. But I thought it was interesting. And I like that Narumi, one thing I like about her character throughout all of this is that she is not being the stereotypical jealous girlfriend because, you know, you've seen some romance subplots where they go off and do their own thing and the girlfriend or the boyfriend would be very clingy and want to like stay with them the whole time. Here, I appreciate this. I would love this as much as I would love to be with that person. And I like that they have those moments together at the end of the OVA, or at least the end of this part of it. I think that it's important that they are able to go out and have friends and have those encounters and have those memories, right? I know a lot of friends, and something that's kind of a deterrent from dating myself is that something that I've kind of found as a deterrent from wanting to date someone is I've had lots of friends who have dated a significant other, and that significant other, one, wants to be attached to your hip 24/7, which is fine. I appreciate that. But also, I do like having a little bit of privacy and personal space. So I'm like, all the time. And two, I know some friends who their significant other would not want them to go hang out with us unless they were there. I don't like that. I had a friend that her boyfriend did not want her to hang out with us unless he was there. And I was like, one, I'm like, do you not trust her to, behave when you're not there? And two, I'm like, she can go hang out with her friends just like you can go hang out with your friends. It's totally fine. And they come to find out he didn't really have any friends. And I'm like, wow. But I'm like, you should be able to trust your significant other that they can go hang out with their friends and you're not threatened as a partner. I'm like, that's so weird to me. I don't like that. So I'm glad that Narumi doesn't fall into that camp. She wants him to go make friends, especially non-otaku friends, and hang out. She's like, good job, Hirotaka. You're doing it. It took some time, but you're going to have fun with this trip on your friends. It's really funny. So they talk about the hot springs, but also I wish Narumi could know. I wish that Narumi could know that when he thought of the hot spring, he thought of her in the yukata. Because she's always getting on to him. She's like, oh, well, you think of these big boob figurines like you have in your bedroom. And he thought of her. He didn't think of no big boobed girl. He thought of his girlfriend. And then his enthusiasm, his expectations and enthusiasms rose increasingly by two. So it's super cute. Also, at first, I was like, look, I'm not going to ship Baba and Aiba because we should not just ship coworkers because they're coworkers. We shouldn't just ship them. They can just be platonic friends. It's totally fine, even though... And then when he was like, oh, buy me a latte, and Baba's like, okay. But then when Hirotaka was like, well, buy me a black coffee too, I'm like, see, they're not a ship. But then we get to the hot springs later on, and I was like, so are you trying to make this a ship? We'll get to it. We'll talk about it. I also feel for Kabakura here, where he was like, he's the man who never says no when asked. He's like, I wanted to watch this season's anime when they aired. That's a real feeling. I have to go on some work trips this semester when the shows that I'm watching for this channel come out. I'm not going to be able to be there to watch them when they come out. I'll have to watch them when I get back from my trips. That's so frustrating. And I'm like, so frustrating. Not looking forward to it, to be honest. But anyway... So, also the idea of the man who never says no when asked, and Koyanagi's trying to convince him to say no. I'm curious in the manga if she proposes to him, and then he says no just so he can propose to her. Don't tell me anything. I don't want spoilers. I want no manga spoilers in case if I read the manga. So, no manga spoilers, please. So, we'll find out when we find out. He's like, this was at the intersection of everyone's expectations that will start momentarily. Poor Kabakura. I feel for him. So this was fun when he's just like, boo-hoo. Hirotaka's like, I don't know what to pack for my trip I've never been on. Boo-hoo. I really love it. You know what? Being in college, being on a competitive team that traveled a lot really taught me about how to plan and how to organize and how to pack for a trip. But also, Hirotaka and Narumi remind me of my brother and I when we pack for trips. Because I'm like, well, we could go see this and we could go do this. Like me and Narumi, we're like, We get it. But my brother's like Hirotaka, where he just wants to pack all his gaming systems and just go to the hotel room and stay there the whole time. He's like, no. So my brother is very similar to Hirotaka in that regard. And she's like, well, haven't you been on trips? And he's like, why leave when I have games at home? I love that through Narumi's vision, she imagines him with the sparkles and the bubbles. Like, that's her dream boat right in front of her. That's really funny. But she's like, well, this will be good for you to go on a trip and see things you don't normally get to. And he's like, well, I'm looking forward to soaking in the hot spring. He's like, I've never been to one. She's like, well, he's like, I only have a vague image of what it'll be like, and it's frustrating. I did like this line because the idea of him not imagining being able to have a good time because he doesn't have a clear concept of what that experience is going to be about or be like is a really valid and real way to describe a frustration or anxiety about travel. You don't know what to expect. And if you're used to like a consistent comfort, that would be something to kind of be antsy about. So I'm kind of glad that it's brought up in this. I think it's a neat concept to talk about. He's like, I'm just talking to myself. Don't worry about it. And she's like, well, I think that's fine. It's just imagining yourself having fun is important. Yeah, just imagine it's going to be a good time, and it will be, right? She's like, I want you to do fun things that don't involve video games. I like that Narumi is slowly kind of adopting a little bit of Nao's sort of tendencies. Nao wanted Hirotaka to get friends and have experiences, and Narumi's like, you should have those outside of that as well. It's healthy to do that, right? And he's like, okay. She's like, which is why we're going to get along with our coworkers. And he's like, well, aren't you coming too? And she's like, yes, but I'm going to hang out with the lady coworkers. You're going to hang out with the guys. And poor Kabakura is going to be stuck with the general manager. I felt for Kabakura. Like, Hirotaka gets to hang out with these two guys. Narumi gets to hang out with Koyanagi and this other girl. And Kabakura's like sweating, being like, why am I with the president of the company? You know, Kabakura is clearly, I think, going to be in line for promotion later on. So I think that's maybe why. But also the skirt that Narumi is wearing, her outfit's adorable. But I think that skirt might be the one that she loaned Ko a while ago. But yeah, super cute. I love it. I love Hirotaka's outfit too. I love this supervisor. He's just watching Kabakura being like, this man knows what's up. I love it. And Kabakura is an organized individual. You can tell, right? Don't be thinking this is going to be an old man yaoi supervisor. Don't be getting into that. But yeah, so they go to Hakeone, which I honestly would like to go to Hakeone. I think that would be fun. Also, since that's where the Run with the Wind race happens. So I'm just saying. But yeah, this was just really pretty. I also love that Hirotaka hates every moment of nature. Hirotaka's like, I hate the part about nature. He's like, I like when he gets to the end, his HP's like at 0. His magic points are at 0. His HP's like at 2. Also, I love that his friends are being supportive. And they're like, come on, Hirotaka, you can do it. It's super cute. And Armi's like, see? You made friends. Nice. So yeah. I do appreciate that it's Hirotaka of all of them that's the one that turns back first to see her. He's like, well, I really want to be with her during these experiences, right? And she does the same when she sees him at the New Year's pool. Like, they both want to be with each other, but they recognize it's important that they're with their friends, right? And she's like, I shouldn't interrupt. So Aiba wants to find a cute girlfriend. Baba seems like he's considering his career more than anything. And Hirotaka makes the wish, and he just wants to be with Narumi by the end of the event, which is super cute. So we go to this inn. They have this room. I like Baba offers a tea, and Kabakura is staying with all them. And poor Kabakura, he's like, we have to get ready for dinner. He's like, we got to do this. I like the wow that comes out when he imagines Narumi, which is super cute. And his hit points go up like 1, which is super fun. He's like, maybe. But then, of course, he realizes at the sauna, you don't get to bathe co-ed. Obviously. It's just all the dudes with dudes and all the ladies with ladies. And so the only thing that kind of bugged me was when he took his actual fingers and started wiping the glasses with his fingers. I was like, no. At that point, although he is like legally blind without them, at that point I would have just put them down so that they weren't fogging up in front of me. But he's going to get out, and Kabakura convinces him to stay, right? And then as he's about to leave because he wants to go play games, since he's figured out that Narumi's not going to be there, Kabakura's like, hey, let's play a different kind of game. Not a video game, but we're going to go in the sauna and challenge ourselves. And then he agrees to do it. So then we cut over to the women's bath, and damn Koyanagi. Like, Narumi and I, we both get it, but Koyanagi, like, I mean, I will give the anime this. Koyanagi's boobs are probably the most realistic big boobs I've seen in some anime. Like, I don't envy Koyanagi. I know that some people would oogle them, but I'm like, that's a lot of back problems that I don't want to deal with. I got enough of that worry without any boobs. So, but I do like this. Although Koyanagi trying to initiate a Yuri moment was really funny, where she's like, no. Narumi's like, no, let's just imagine our boyfriends as girls instead. But yeah, so Narumi, she's like, okay with Hirotaka hanging out with his friends. And Koyanagi kind of admits that even though she's letting it happen, she's kind of sad that her and Kabakura aren't able to share more moments together, which I feel like they're a lot more clingy than Narumi and Hirotaka, so that makes sense. But yeah, so look, I was not about... We had this moment of like Yuri bait between Koyanagi and Narumi. And I was all about to be like, well, let's not assume anything about the two classmates. And then we have this fake out moment where I was like, oh, don't touch me there. And Baba's like looking down, and then they go over and he's like pinching is like not chubby midsection, for the record. That boy ain't chubby, nor is he gaining weight. What y'all doing over there? I was also like, is that normal for your coworker to come up and squeeze your non-existent love handles? I was like, this is not helping me to not create BL fantasies of these two. Not helping at all. The one thing I will say is when he talks to, listen, I'm not saying I'm triggered by content like this, because I don't think that I am. I can watch this fine. But I do want to make a commentary about it, because as somebody who's had an eating impairment, eating disorder, and am very self-conscious about my body and having body dysmorphia, watching this and seeing Aiba, who is as skinny as a rail, you can see his ribs on his model, him being like, oh yeah, I've gained weight. I'm like, you're fine. You're really fine. You really are fine. And I kind of wanted to kind of yell at Baba a little bit, because he's like, oh, well, you know, you've gained weight. And then I was like, well, I just really like beer. And he's like, maybe you should lay off the alcohol. I'm like, maybe you should mind your own business. I wanted to be like, I was like, maybe you shouldn't question somebody's physical appearance, and maybe you shouldn't tell them what to do in that sense. I mean, I get that Baba is trying to help and be a good friend, but this is, as somebody who's gone through some situations with this, maybe not the way that you handle it. I don't know. I don't know what the proper way to do it was, but I was like, So then they're like, let's go into the sauna. And then they're just both intimidated because they open it up. And he's like, we'll just sweat it off and get out another beer. And he's like, didn't I say lay off the beer? I'm like, what are you, his boyfriend? What are you, his boyfriend? Telling him to lay off the beer? What are you doing? And then we see these two, which how they're ripped is beyond me. I mean, I bet Kabakura works out. I bet he does. He seems like the type. But Hirotaka being as ripped as he is when he just drinks and plays games, I don't know how realistic that is. But these two, I like the red versus blue with their hair here. It works perfect. And when they both were just like, well, I guess then I'll win. Like, they both are so competitive. I love it. I liked this little bit of fan service. It was a fun time. We got it with Koyanagi and Narumi. Why don't we get it with these two, you know? So yeah, they're like, has it been long enough? And again, Hirotaka's like, I'm not about to lose. So instead, they both get to the point where they're just literally about to pass out. Yeah. Because then it just gets steamier, and then we see the Baba and Aiba like fanning them and getting them water. I like Koyanagi being like, well, I would have told him, you know, it was cute. So then they have this, like, basically they have the office dinner together with the sashimi. That looks so good. That all does. I was kind of reminded of, what series have I watched where we had a scene like this? I think it was Uramichi Onisan. Yes, there is a scene in Uramichi Onisan that is very similar to this. And the one character, the concept of alcohol and being peer pressured by your employers to drink is something that comes up in that series as well. And I do agree with Koyanagi that you need to know when to say no, and that's okay. You don't have to put yourself out there all the time. Like Kabakura although the idea of Kabakura being a softy drunk, was not expecting it. Was not expecting Kabakura to be a little flirty softy drunk. Everybody's a little different when they're drunk. Kabakura being a softy drunk is not what I expected. Interesting to note. But yeah, you need to know when you're going to say no. I know from experience working that when I was younger, I would take on every job and be like, oh, sure, absolutely. I would love to do it. And then it just got to the point where finally I had a coworker. He was like 4 or 5 years from retiring. He's like, look, they're not paying you off the clock. Don't do it if you're not getting paid for it. And don't work overtime unless you want the extra money or unless it's paying. He's like, mm-mm. And it was a lesson to learn, that it's good to have those boundaries, especially in a workplace. Because here's the thing. If a workplace believes that you will keep working without complaint or them having to pay you, they'll take advantage of that 100% because they're a business. But if you lay down a boundary and you're good at your job but have that boundary, most places will respect that because they don't want to lose you as a good employee. Now, if you suck as an employee and you try to establish that boundary and you're not a good employee, well then yeah, they'll let you go because you're expendable to them. But if you're a good employee and they rely upon you, you can set a boundary, and if they don't respect it, you can leave. I mean, that's easier said than done, especially with employment nowadays. But I do generally, from experience, if you can lay down that boundary and you're good at your job, most places will accept it because they want you there to work. But anyway, that's also based on my experience, not everybody's experience. So that's not advice or anything. It's just, I do think Kabakura should establish that boundary. I think he's in a position with his own workplace where he could do that. Poor guy, though. I didn't expect to be relating so much to Kabakura. I've related to Narumi since episode 1, but as the series has gone on, I've found myself relating more and more to Kabakura in various ways. I don't really drink anymore because I get terrible hangovers, and I know I should drink more water. I should drink more water. I'm trying to work on that because I get dehydrated a lot and end up just like him, and I'm glad Koyanagi is watching out for him. And she's like, you should know your limits. Yeah. And he's like, oh, Hanako. And then she's like, you really need to figure out how to say no. Otherwise, you're going to end up getting the short end of the stick. And then she sits down beside him, which is super cute, the two of them together. And he just gives her a little kiss. This is so sweet. Kabakura being a little romantic. We all know he has it in him. She's like, where'd that come from? And then he's like, I thought you looked cute. This softy flirter. I see where she immediately fell for it. She's like, well, it doesn't mean anything if you say it when you're drunk. Mm-hmm. Girl, you know he'd say it if he was sober though, too. Oh, that's so sweet. She's like, it's not my fault if somebody sees us. Baka. Meanwhile, Hirotaka's outside smoking. We'll say this. Cigarettes always look cool in media, but don't smoke, kids. It's terrible for your health. It will kill you. Don't smoke. I also like the idea that Kabakura is kind of a lightweight and Hirotaka's a tank. Like just a freaking tank. But this was so sweet. I loved the Narumi. And Narumi at first, I loved her seeing him and then him seeing her. And they both actually did miss each other throughout the day. She was just trying to pass it off like, oh no, I won this pool. See, isn't this fun? But she really just wanted an excuse to be around him. And she admitted as much and he admitted as much as the episode was over. It's super cute. I love them standing next to each other on the bridge. It's really sweet. And the fact that her neck is blushing, she's so red and flushed and flustered because she wanted to see him. And then his face is like that too. Freaking adorable. Freaking adorable. I loved it. So as far as how they sleep, I would say I am the most like Hirotaka. A back sleeper. What are you, a robot? No. And I can't sleep on my stomach. Absolutely not. No. I'm not really Koyanagi. I'm probably the most like Hirotaka, like the little fetal position side sleeper. So then we have them going to have the game night. I love that Ko has been asked to come too. Super cute. And I love that they're all getting together for this game night to play. And Ko is so shy, but I love that she's been invited. And it's just, this is so sweet. I just like the domesticness of it. And then Hirotaka compliments Kabakura, and he's like, Nefuchi. Like, he's like, you complimented me. That was so nice of you. See, what a big softie. When he's around everybody by himself, what a big softie. He's like, on the train home, I had a bunch of fun chatting with Baba and Iba about games. And he's like, you got us backwards. Well, you two are practically dating, so let's be real. Are you ever going to get better at remembering people's names? Probably not. I can relate. I'm terrible at names. Human names? No time. So they start to play the games. Now is, of course, the worst. Has the game over. I like whenever Now gets Ko the drink, Koyanagi looks over and she's like, wait a minute. I could flirt with you and make you slightly uncomfortable. Ah! And Narumi's like, no, wait, no! Now, I think Koyanagi knew that Ko was a girl, and Narumi's like, Ko isn't gonna like that at all. And Kabakura's like, look, you can't do that. Which is great. And then what did she do? She grabbed a piece of pizza. Isn't that what it is? Oh my gosh. And poor Ko's like, I didn't mean to start any of this. Yeah. And then we get this scene of Hirotaka, and while Kabakura and Ko or Kabakura and Now are playing Mario Kart and failing at it, we have this moment between Hirotaka and Narumi, and she's like, hey, if I helped to organize and said it was okay to bring your video games, would you want to go on a retreat again, but just the two of us? I want to see chapters on that, please. I want to see that. And of course, Hirotaka's like, yes, I absolutely would. That's what he's been wanting this whole time. And she's like, well, it's fine if you're not cool with that. And I love that he grabs her pinky. Like, that was super sweet. Like, as they're not going to like, that I love. That is like swoon worthy. Like, it's not PDA because nobody wants to like look over and see y'all making out. Like, do that in your own time. But just that little pinky promise that he's like, yeah, I'd be cool with that. And then our sir doing that pinky move. And then she looks over to him and he says, okay. And then just legit smiles and says, pick out a place. That's amazing. That is just straight up swoon. Straight up swoon. Straight up swoon. And his eyes are so soft there. He looks like the most like Now he's looked in the entire series, except he doesn't have the cat mouth. That's so freaking adorable. I love that. And these two, I love that they've gone from the beginning of the series when they're like, we're not dating. We're not actually boyfriend and girlfriend. We're just going to be tested out and collaborate together, whatever. And now they're planning like a weekend trip together as boyfriend, girlfriend. I love the character development. It's so sweet. That's so sweet. I love that. So yeah. So then we get like from them being childhood friends and them starting to like do their collaboration at work together. And then them going on this trip together. And I'm not into couples coordinating outfits, but the navy shirt, the white dress, the navy shoes, the hats, it's freaking adorable. I really like it, actually. It's super cute. A flock of Eren Jaegers has come to greet them. And then they go and try all the like the meat and the ice cream. Like, that's super cute. Love that. And I also like that we get all the girls. I like we get the girls and what they're doing compared to what their significant other is doing. So like Narumi's working on her manga, Koyanagi's reading, Ko is playing a game, and then you cut over, and then there is on the other side of her room, there's Hirotaka at her room playing games. There is Kabakura, they're at his apartment, and he's reading manga too. And then meanwhile, Now is in Hirotaka's apartment at his place playing games as well. Super cute. But yeah, and then we get everybody together. The beach, I love Narumi's bathing suit. That is so freaking adorable. Love that bathing suit. The style is so cute. It reminds me of Orihime from the Bleach. It reminds me of the Orihime from the Bleach cover spread with the watermelon. If y'all know what I'm talking about. It reminds me of that. I also like Hirotaka with the hoodie and the long swim shorts. Those are cute. Love that. Super sweet. And then, yeah, just them hanging out. Having so much fun together. Love it. And then meanwhile, we have I love Ko and Now in this moment together under the tree, hanging out together, being super precious, holding hands and blushing. That's so cute. I love it. And then we get the most baity of all. We get Kabakura and Koyanagi getting married. What led to this? What moments led to this? Also, Kabakura with the hair slicked is really, really, really handsome. Yeah, I need to see more of that. And then I like the two-piece signs. Super cute. Aww, I love that. That's so cute. And Hirotaka smiling. Also, I love her little blue Converse-y shoes, and then his shoes too. And their little bags, his like black duffel bag and her little cute pink suitcase. So cute. Yep, that's so sweet. I love it. Aww. Super cute. And I thought that was the end. I thought that was the end of it all. But then we get this discussion, the what if scenario of imagining Hirotaka and Kabakura and them doing the gender swap. Honestly, Hirotaka gender swap sounds amazing. I would read a whole damn manga about her and like her struggles. I like that she like tells the one guy, I want to just smoke my cigarette and play games. And she's like, no, I'm on my break. And then I like Kabakura just as this go-get-em Erin Brockovich type character. She looks amazing. Love that. Love the gender-bent versions. Although, the gender-bent versions of Narumi and Hanako are amazing. So, I thought instantly of two characters when we see Naru, the male version of Narumi. One, I thought of looks-wise, I thought of kind of Rokaku from Cherry Magic. But also, I don't know if you've seen this Korean manhwa. It's called On Off. The main guy in On Off looks just like this and has the same kind of demeanor. So yeah, I imagine them too. I honestly, Koyanagi's male version is just like Midorima. If Midorima from Kuroko's Basketball and the one guy from Ouran High School Host Club, the vice president of Ouran High School Host Club, if the vice president of Ouran High School Host Club and Midorima from Kuroko's Basketball fuse together, that's Koyanagi. And if they did cosplay, that's Koyanagi, their male form. Love that. I love the deep voice acting too. Also, yeah, just absolutely 1000% for it. So yeah, it was super cute. I love how they imagined all of this. And especially, yeah, I really liked the male Koyanagi like getting the hug from Kabakura's gender-bent versions. I thought this was so sweet. I would read the heck out of that manga. I'm just saying. I would. Mm-hmm. I'm glad we got Now and Ko as well. Whereas Now is just like the most... Now looks like they came out of a Hallmark movie. I like the Hirotaka's like, don't imagine what they're doing. It's best if we don't know. It's best if we don't know. That's so cute. I love that so much. Also, I love that Narumi is not taller than Hirotaka in their gender-bent versions, whereas Koyanagi is. Also, I love the fact that gender-bent Naoya is just basically like every Hallmark Channel, like rom-com female protagonist. And Ko looks exactly the same. Ko looks the same, just without eyelashes. Which is great. I love it. I love the fact that Ko has a very kind of like androgynous non-binaryism to him. I love that. But it's just, they look exactly the same. Just they're taller. Taller is literally the only difference. Also, just gonna say, the two classmates of Now in their gender-bent versions are the most Yuri-coded thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm sorry. I watched Bloom Into You. They would have been a couple. So, does not beat my allegations about them at all. But it's super cute. Oh, that's so sweet. I love that. And Narumi's explaining to Hirotaka what's going on, and Ko's like, what's happening? I like that Narumi, I love that Hirotaka, when he was at work, he was telling Kabakura, he's like, you don't want to know what they're talking about. And then she ended up telling him anyway, and he's like, it's exactly what I thought we were going to be talking about. And Ko's like, what are they saying about us? Super cute. I love it. And then I'm like, Ko, you have no clue what you're in for. And that's it. That's all we get. That seems so unfair. It really, really does. That seems so unfair. Anyway, I broke up the intro a little bit in this video because I was like, wanted to make sure that I was saying exactly what I wanted to with that. I am interested in the manga. I don't know when exactly I will get to it. Ideally, I would like it to be once I'm done with Cherry Magic and once I'm done with Alien Stage and all that on the channel. That's ideal, but I don't want to promise anything yet. I want to wait. And I hope that there is interest. I'll probably make a poll on Patreon asking about if people are actually interested in the manga or not, because those are a lot of work to get those discussions. And I want to make sure that people are going to like interact and discuss along with me and comment and things like that, because the whole point of me having my channel is to interact with people and to talk with them in the comment section and stuff. And it's fine if people don't have time to make big giant comments, but like I tried to say in the intro, I feel like as long as people are engaged and at least commenting what they're enjoying about the series, then that keeps me inspired to keep reading and keep watching. So that's pretty much it. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how that works. It would definitely be a monthly thing, kind of like Cherry Magic and Alien Stage. It would not be weekly. And maybe that's better. Maybe, I don't know if people just didn't have time to keep up week to week with the series. And that's something I should take into consideration on the channel, is if it's not like a weekly release new anime, if maybe the other series need to be bi-weekly. I don't know. Or bi-monthly, or not bi-monthly, but like twice a month instead of 4 times. I don't know. That's something I'm going to try to keep into consideration. So we'll see. But anyway, I'm very curious to know your thoughts down below about the anime. Please no manga spoilers. But otherwise, I'm going to miss this series. I started out with it not being sure if I was going to like it or not, and I really, really liked it. I like it more than Nozaki-kun. Nozaki-kun was fine. It was the first series I ever watched on this channel, and I was a stupid young YouTuber and didn't back up any of my files, so I don't have any of them saved anymore. But I really liked Nozaki-kun, but I wanted just in general to be more romantic, and this one had way more romance, and I liked the characters. I liked the situations they got in. I just really enjoyed this series, and I wasn't sure what I was going to think of it, so there you go. Anyway, I'm curious to know what you think about this series and your comments down below, but I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I hope to eventually come back and have some more reactions to Wotakoi Love is Hard for an Otaku. And I'll see you then. Bye!